And the sun sets on another power tour. 2 days that we made it. Plan A starts now. 361 days. It's Friday. This is technically the last day of power tour. As stated before, we did come home a little bit early because we wanted to get a jump start on the Mustang for next year. We did put a couple of days wrenching into it, and we've come upon an issue. One of the things that we knew we were dealing with was the oil pump push rod, which is, or drive shaft I should say, this guy here. This plugs into the bottom of the distributor. As the camshaft turns the distributor, it turns this, and this in turn drives the oil pump. So we knew that wasn't up. So one of the first things we did when we got home, we took off the front accessories, we took off the timing cover to get to here. That way I can line up the drive shaft. Goes through here, goes through that little hole, comes down and goes into that there. Now, when we first pulled it apart, there was just a touch of the old one left, which looked like it was rusted and damaged. Not sure where I put that at this point. But I got the other one in, got it seated, tried to turn it, couldn't get my tool down there all the way. So I tried turning the crank to have the cam turn the distributors, turn the oil pump, just make sure that was running. When I did that, I got about 3/4 turn on the crank and it wouldn't go any further. I went back the other way, got about 3/4, didn't go any further. So something is going on that's got the crank locked up. Before we left, we were playing with the electrical and we did get the engine to turn over. So I'm not sure what happened. The things that I've looked for is we pulled the spark plugs back out, make sure they weren't too long hitting top of the pistons. None of the spark plugs look like they had any impact, and same thing, it's locked up where it's at. Taking a look, making sure the valve train all moves, so the push rods, the rocker arms, all that are moving like they should. So last thing that I would believe is something got stuck in the oil pan and maybe up against the crankshaft. So what we have to do now is pull the engine back out. I want to drop the oil pan and see if we can figure out what's going on. Otherwise, we're going to have to do a different engine. So I was thinking we were much closer to being ready to go. It should have just been some wiring and plumbing should have had this thing to go. So I thought we were only a couple days away with this issue. Apparently there is a little bit more going on. It's probably going to be something really stupid because, again, it did turn over before we left. Just not sure what's going on. So at this point, we're going to disconnect the drive shaft, disconnect the motor mounts, the transmission mount, and the exhaust, and it should come out pretty easy. We just put this thing in here not long ago. Shouldn't be any surprises or anything there. So that's going to be the next step for us today.
All right, blast from the past, younger me here. We got the drive shaft off. And then we got the electricals and exhaust manifold off. And then we just got the engine mounts off. So now I have to get the transmission mount bolts off, so then this can be loose to come out. Got the engine out. Now we gotta drop the oil pan to see if there's anything blocking the crankshaft that's preventing it from cranking. Just tightening. What? It's not. There it is. Okay. Sorry, upside down backwards. Are you recording me?
Yes.
Why?
Because our peeps want to see. How can a boy become a man?
Okay. Yeah, unscrewing some screws is amazing. Is there one back here?
There will be. We may need to take the starter out, but you might have enough room.
Should have enough room. Left here, this should fit up here. This can fit up here. 2, 3.
In a situation like this, you can put the socket flat up against the rail, slide along the rail, and you'll feel where the next bolt is. Other side?
Yep.
Go ahead and just go to the other side. And there is the oil pump, or oil pan off, excuse me. The only thing I'm really seeing to start with is that is a piece of the old oil pump drive shaft. So we're gonna see if there's anything else that might come out in the wash. A whole bunch of sludge. A good idea to take this off and clean it out anyway. Take a look in here. All right, Austin, you want to go ahead and grab that breaker bar? Oh, right here, by my feet. Slowly crank it over, and we'll see what moves or what doesn't.
Wait.
Yep, slow. So far, so good. You see where our mark was? I think we're moving a whole lot more than we did before. Spin it the other way now.
Oh, I went right there.
Okay. Let's see here.
Spin that the other way and go back.
Yeah, spin it back the other way. I'm seeing nothing in here that would be causing this to lock up.
And I'm locked.
That's it, you're locked. All right, next step is the heads.
I'm soon.
So, various states of disassembly to get us where we're at. So we pulled the oil pan off, still had a lock up, wasn't finding anything in the crank. Pulled the driver's side head off, same thing, would lock up in the same spot. Pulled the passenger side head off and it spins free. So not really able to determine what the cause was. Taking a look in here, we do have a cylinder that looks like had quite a bit of water sitting in it at one point. I was promised this engine ran when I got it originally. When it was in the donor vehicle, I got it to turn over. Again, it turned over here right before we went on the trip. So not sure what it was. Everything in the top end seemed to be moving okay. So what I'm going to do is double check in the morning. See, all the rockers are moving, none of them are bound. So I'm going to take a look in the morning and see if I can figure out if there's maybe a valve hanging up or something. But it wouldn't make sense that it would just all of a sudden stop like that. But either way, it gives us a good opportunity to inspect a little bit further than we had. We'll get some cleanup for being essentially a temporary engine, because we know we're not going to keep this engine in here. We're not really sure where we're going to go. We got a couple ideas we're tossing around. I know what we want to do, but what we're able to is a whole nother story. But again, this will allow us to get a few more things cleaned up and then basically put it back together again. If I have to, I do have another set of heads that will bolt onto here with a little bit of slight modification that might flow a little bit better. But I want to do some inspection on these heads and see what we've got. So for a long time, the 351 Windsor and the 302 had different heads. The Windsors were a little bit bigger, a little bit less restrictive, and supposedly one of the best factory iron heads you can get is from a 1969, which I have one of those. So the thought originally was to take 3 of my 351 blocks, put them together into one monster block, and run it like that. One's got a little bit of bore, one's got an aftermarket camshaft, one's got the better factory heads. Again, use what I've got and get things tossed on. But all else being equal, if I can use those 69 heads, get a little bit more airflow out of the 302, the only difference is the head bolts are a little bit larger. So there is a spacer that they make that makes up the difference. so we can put the larger heads on. But that will be something we take a peek at a little bit later. So for right now, we got some cleanup to do, and we will probably go ahead and replace that oil pump while we're in here. I got the camera facing the wrong direction, but we'll replace that oil pump. Just make sure that's all good, and we'll be able to get that drive shaft put in and the distributor put in before we put everything else together to make sure everything seats right. But for tonight, I think we're gonna clean up and pack it up and then get back on it in the morning.
Okay, voiceover today because I'm lazy and I don't feel like typing it all out. So we had an issue with the 302. When we would crank it manually, it would go about halfway. It wouldn't be able to circle through the whole thing. So obviously it needs to turn all the way to run. So we took it off. The car, again, as you can see, it's off. So we originally took off the spark plugs and dropped the oil pan to see if there's anything blocking the crankshaft, but still was only going halfway. So we took off the driver's side heads, taking out the push rods and the rocker pins, should be right there. We spun it around and it still was only going halfway, locking up at the halfway mark. So then we took off the passenger side heads and it went full circle. So as you can see, there's a lot of rust in this one. There was some like white powder that came out of that one too. These two look alright, but yeah, so something going on with the heads on the passenger side. We might put some different heads on. Other updates will be finally got the drive shaft figured out, but once we got the oil pump drive shaft figured out, then we had the cranking issue, so we had to take that out. And we'll probably replace the oil pump while we're out here, while the engine's out of the car. Otherwise, it's just putting on new heads, seeing if that works, or fixing these, replacing some parts, putting it back in, and firing it up. So, yep.
After a couple of days of muddling around, ordering parts, and just taking it easy because it's hot right now. So we're at the point where we've got the old oil pump off, the new one on. I got to get a gasket for here. We have the oil pump drive shaft in. We have, oh, you can't see it from this direction. Oh yeah, you can. Right there, we've got the star washer that's supposed to be on there to keep the piece from pulling out all the way. And then we have the distributor in and seated. So if I take my handy candy crank, we spin it around, we have full motion out of the engine. That just scared me for a second. Full motion out of the engine. It's stuck there for a moment. The distributor is turning, and if we see down here, hard to see on the video doing everything one-handed, but the oil pump is turning. So this guy's about ready to put back together. We're going to get that gasket between the pickup and the oil pump, which I might actually have one. I have to take a look, otherwise I'll get one. We've got that guy in. The distributor may eventually have to come back. Well, it'll have to come back out again because I'm not sure where I'm timed at. But once I get everything buttoned up here, I can get the gasket and get the oil pan put on. I'll clean everything up while it's off and get it set back in the car. And then we'll pull the heads back off, do head gaskets, do front cover gasket, all that. I might clean up some of these surfaces while it's out of the car, and I've got a little bit more room to do so. But yeah, getting ready to go back in the car. Woohoo! Another day back on the Mustang. So in the last couple of days, we have the transmission bolted back in. We've got the drive shaft put back in, some of that. We're working on the interior. We finally got the clutch cable hooked up on the inside, and now we're working on the engine. So we did find the issue with the oil pump. We've got that changed, got the pan on. We got the engine transmission again back into the car. We pulled the heads off. We're cleaning all that up. Austin spent some time. See, get down in here, clean up the cylinders and everything. We've got the distributor kind of clocked where we want it. We'll see if we can hold it there. And come over here taking a look. We've been working on the heads themselves, getting everything cleaned up. I just ran a chaser through the head bolt threads. And then Austin's over there cleaning up the head bolts themselves. So we are getting the point where we're going to try and get the top end back together today, get the intake on actually seated, and then start working on that front cover. So goal is in the next 3 days to see if we can try and get this thing to at least burp off, make sure everything's good. Then we'll kind of finish the rest of it, get the exhaust on, all that, then get the intake on. So progress, slow progress, but progress.